what's up YouTube, Kristo here. Finally have my Q&A video. First part, I tried to do them all in one take and it was like nearly 30 minutes long. So I'm gonna have to cut it in half. So what I'm gonna do is my Q&A, I had submission from my subscribers and I asked my subscribers to submit questions about pretty much anything, whatever they wanted. Hobbies, interests, perfume as well, of course. And I got a lot of feedback. I got a lot of questions, way more than I was expecting. Thank you so much to everybody who submitted questions. It's really kind. It shows that people actually watch me and are interested in knowing a little bit more about me and my tastes. Yeah, I'm going to read the question. I will put the question in subtitles, and I will include the subscriber who asked the question. I tried to fit in at least one question from every person. Like I said, I was just so overwhelmed with them, in a good way, of course, though. So let's get to it. These are in no order either. I randomly just threw them down, and when I cut them into part 1 and part 2, I literally just, again, cut them in half, so there's no specific order here. So let's get to it. First question, great one. What's your take on niche versus designer? Well, a lot of controversy, a lot of people talking about niche now. Everybody's, you know, hot to trot for niche. And to me, in my opinion, I think you need to buy what you like, and you don't need to worry about what other people wear. You don't need to worry about looking sophisticated, looking rich, looking wealthy, looking like you know what you're talking about, etc., etc. You need to buy what you like, what fits your taste, and what fits your budget. There's no need to bankrupt yourself in order to impress other people online, okay? Don't do it. That said, I do really enjoy niche, but I will never give up on designers. There's an endless list of excellent designer fragrances, so buy what you like. That's my opinion totally. Next one, do you have any books about fragrances and any favorites? Now, this one, I do not actually have any fragrance books. I have looked into a few, but they're quite hard to find here. There's not very many good English language bookstores here, and the ones there are, they're very select selection, if you will. There are some that I'm interested in, but I don't want to mention any names just because I don't want to say something that turns out to be not very good and people run out and check it out, and etc., etc. So as for now, no, I haven't read or own any books on fragrances. What would you wear when it's in the 90s with 100% humidity? Well, that's pretty much every day here. I live in the tropics. It's very hot. It's very humid. So for me, there's two things I really like to wear. One I mentioned a couple days ago in my video about my wife's perfume, Guerlain Erba Fresca from the Aqua Allegoria line. That's fantastic. A little more casual though. I don't really wear that out of the house much. But if I'm going out, I do really enjoy Chanel's Edition Blanche, and I really enjoy Creed's Virgin Island Water as well. I think both of those go really well, or all three of those go really well in the hot, humid weather. If you reduced your collection to solely 3 bottles, what would they be and why? It's a good question, and I would say I would take my signature Narciso Rodriguez, because that is me. I think it kind of captures me. That's my signature, so it definitely reminds myself of what I like and my tastes. Also, I would take Tom Ford Noir de Noir. I think it's a fantastic, dark, heavy, woody, sweet fragrance. Really enjoy that a lot. And I would probably take something a little more versatile. Those two aren't the most versatile fragrances, so I'd probably take my #1 designer, Prada Infusion Dome. I think that works really well, so I can kind of cover all my bases right there. Which women's fragrances do you like your wife to wear? I talked about this quite recently in my video, my wife's perfume video I did. On my wife, there's 2 that I really like. I do really like Dolce & Gabbana By for women. It's very animalic and very musky and very strong but soft as well. I really like that. And also her signature, what I consider to be her signature scent, Amethyst from Lalique. That was the first perfume I ever bought her, so I have a lot of close associations with smelling that and thinking of her. So those are definitely my two favorite on her, I would say. Now, on the flip side, what's your wife's favorite fragrance on you? And actually, it's my scent of the day, totally unplanned. And it's, you know, niche versus designer. Of all the perfumes I own, my wife has complimented me on this 3 times, unsolicited. Burberry The Beat. You can pick this up for like $35 for 100 ml, and I've gotten more compliments on that than any other fragrance I've worn around my wife in 2 years plus. How do you feel about perfume pricing, and do you really think that paying more than $200 is ever warranted? Well, is it ever warranted? Sure, it is. If you make that kind of money, if you can afford to drop more than $200 on a bottle of perfume, and you appreciate it and you enjoy it, yes, of course. If you don't understand what you're talking about or what you're smelling, and if you don't have that kind of money, if it's something that's going to kind of, you know, just end up accumulating interest on your credit card, no, it's a waste of money. There are certainly great fragrances out there that you can get for 50 bucks or less, but there are some absolutely amazing scents out there that, yes, are $200 plus. For me, $200 is kind of about my cutoff point. Over 200 bucks, it's gonna have to really, really, really interest me. So yes, in my opinion, it is warranted, but only if it is something you can afford and you will appreciate and understand. Next one, what are your top 10 favorite bands? Well, like perfume and movies and every other kind of collection or obsession or hobby, taste change. So at the moment I'm really into kind of lo-fi, indie, noise music. So right now these are in random order. I'm really into Smog, Sonic Youth, Flaming Lips, Beat Happening, Earth, Faxed Head, Beck, also some rap and hip hop. I'm really into kind of early 90s New York City stuff, Wu-Tang and Wu-Tang side projects, Kool Keith, I love Kool Keith. But my favorite band ever, hands down, no question, is Guided by Voices. I love them. They are the absolute epitome of kind of indie lo-fi rock to me. I love them. Fantastic band. Next question, how is the Indonesian school system different than Canada's or North America's? Very different. I could spend a long time talking about it, but I know you don't want to hear that much. In a nutshell, the main differences are classes here start earlier, they learn more lessons per day, and very strangely, kids start learning more complicated subjects much earlier on in school. Kids in primary school start learning like science and biology and stuff. Junior high school kids start learning physics and geometry and stuff like that. Is it a good idea? I don't know. I think it's just kind of barraging young kids with too many subjects that are too complicated. It's a very, very strange place for school systems. They're very corrupt, and yeah, I don't know. That's all I'm going to get into for now, but I'll say they are very, very different. Next question, what is a BetawiBlood? Well, I talked about this a bit in my BetawiBlood bio, and BetawiBlood is a phrase, well, Betawi is a word that is Indonesian for the Dutch name of Old Jakarta, Batavia. Batavia is what the Dutch used to call Jakarta in the colonial era, and Betawi is the local translation. So because I've lived here for so long, and you know, I do feel like I live in Jakarta, my home is Jakarta, I put them together and I thought that would be a good name. Although there is absolutely not a drop of Betawi blood in me, it's my home. Next question, what is the downside of collecting perfumes? Well, if you've watched my Sacco Shit videos, you know exactly what the downside of collecting perfume is. Unwanted bottles, bottles that you grow out of, bottles that were too expensive, seeing bottles that you paid a lot for go down dramatically in price. That's another big downside. It's just so frustrating to see things go on sale for like half price a day or two after you bought something. So yeah, definitely the downside is just wasting money and having bottles that you don't like. Is it safe to blind buy Gucci Porom 1? And I like this question even though it is pretty specific. I'm going to address this kind of in general. I don't recommend blind buying to anyone unless they are a subscriber that I know well, that PMs with me regular, and I know their taste. Your favorite reviewers, even though you share like 99% of the same favorites, there's definitely going to be one or two out there that you will dramatically differ on, and I never recommend blind buying unless I know someone well. Gucci Porom 1 is a fantastic fragrance. I love it. It's one of my favorite designers ever, and it is very rare now, and it's going to fetch very high prices online. So something like that, even if you don't like it, you will probably be able to turn it over pretty well, pretty easily I should say, and you know, get a few, even make a few bucks off it, or get something for higher value. But like I said, I don't recommend blind buying to anyone. If you move to another country overseas, will they let you carry your whole collection with you? I'm assuming perfume collection. I don't know. I've only collected perfume living in Jakarta in Indonesia. I've never moved. And I'm sure if you paid the right moving company, they would move your bottles for you, but it would probably be very, very expensive. Having moving companies move you internationally is incredibly expensive to do out of your own pocket. So other than just turfing them in a suitcase and carrying them on a flight, which I absolutely would never recommend doing, it would probably be pretty hard, but possible. Luckily, I don't think I'll ever have to do it. I'm interested in teaching English in Indonesia or another foreign country. How do I get started? This is a good question, and you know, I got into this. I really rushed into it. I didn't do my research. Luckily, this was like 10 years ago when the English market, the TESOL, teaching English as a second language market, was still much smaller than it was today. Do your research. Be careful for fly-by-night ESL courses, TOEFL, TESOL, things like that. There are very good ones that are reputable, that are very expensive but very thorough. But there are also ones that are cheaper, that are not thorough, and you will end up getting basically a worthless $1,000 certificate if you end up taking the wrong one. So do some research. If you really are that interested, feel free to PM me and I will give you a bit more detail. And the last one, how long did it take for culture shock to settle in? How did you adjust, and was it difficult? Culture shock for coming to Indonesia was instant. I cannot imagine a place on this planet that could be that much more different than to where I grew up in Canada. Culture shock was immediate, but I adjusted really well because I knew what I was expecting. I was also surrounded by really, really great people, other expats, English and American and Australian people who a lot of them I still keep in touch with till today. A lot of people want to teach English in, you know, the tropics and exotic Asia, South America, and they don't really understand what they're doing. They think they're going to be teaching in a school right by the beach and they're going to be able to grab their surfboard and go surfing between classes and things like that, and believe me, it is absolutely nothing like that at all. So be careful and just know what you're getting into. So there's my first video, first part. I will get the second part out pretty soon. Hope you enjoy it, and thanks for your patience, everyone. See you again soon.